So why don't you tell everybody your name?
It's Elisabeth Kochenower. My background is I was born in France. I have dual citizenship. I own my own business in medical device sales, specifically in foot and ankle and orthopedics.
And you have 4 children, right?
I do. I have 4 children. They are 7, 9, 10, and 13. So I had them all in just over 5 years, about 5.5 years. And they're my life. They're the reason that I do everything. They are my drive. And so hopefully one day when they grow up and look at what I've done in my legacy, then I hope that that motivates them. A year ago, actually, today, I got my EIC number. So this is my 1-year anniversary with Ivy Ortho, which I just put that together. Yeah. And so...
So I hear you say over the course of a year,
yeah.
And sometimes when we share our stories with people, you know, nobody ever knows behind the scenes how many challenges arise.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't that you just had, and correct me if I'm wrong, millions of dollars to just go do this.
No.
Did you sell your house and you had
yes.
to? Yeah.
Yes, the behind the scenes. Oh, so I bought a home in 2006 in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. Luckily, in 2006, that's when, you know, there was an economic crash. And, you know, over the years, my home built equity. So I sold that home. And off of that, you know, I've been paying myself. And so I needed I needed to just pay for my bills, you know, just to survive. So any commissions that I was making, you know, those are my business commissions. But technically speaking, you know, not enough to you know, to carry myself and my family through, you know, to pay the bills and everything. So luckily I had that asset. And so also, you know, in the beginning when I knew that COVID had hit, so I started my business in February. COVID was officially shutting everything down, elective surgeries, which is orthopedics, in March. So 1 month later, I started my business, and then a pandemic hits, and that's when I knew that the B1 company, the orthopedic company that I was originally supposed to be with, the communication slowed with that, and they decided to put everything aside with that company. So the very foundation that I was going to base this business off of kind of went by the wayside. So that's when I had to get really creative and think outside of the box. You know, out of difficult situations comes your strength and your grit and the ability to say, okay, what's next? What am I going to do? And I think that that's where Ivy Ortho kind of came from. I started to have to shift. I was talking to a lot of different companies about representing devices here in the Chattanooga area that may not have had representation by a bigger company. And it was an accumulation of being in the right place at the right time and talking to the right people and being honest and being very humble in the place that I was, because it was either go back to corporate America and get a job somewhere, or stick with the foundation, the premise of my company, which was going to be orthopedic device. And I remember I called another distributor here in Chattanooga, and I said, I don't know what to do. I don't know, I need some direction. Can you help me? And he was like, well, okay, I'll keep you in mind. I know your situation. We'll work together. Well, he called me the next day and he said, listen, I have a C-arm, which is fluoroscopy and x-ray imaging. It's a portable machine. The smaller one's portable, but many hospitals have large ones. So I took a small one, and I had no idea what I was doing. He trains me. He was kind of in the middle of a conference call. He was kind of like showing me the buttons, and I took it home, and I kind of trained myself on a small C-arm. I was supposed to take it to Memphis the next day, which I did. I took it to Memphis for a bunion procedure. And it was bilateral. So it was both feet, and I was told that I was just going to take it in and put it together, and they would take all the imaging, and I would kind of be a wallflower during the procedure. Well, that wasn't the case. I totally had to take all the images. I had to work it, and luckily I did, because I wanted to train myself enough not to look like I didn't know what I was doing, to the doctor. So at the end of the surgery, the rep in there who was doing the implant system for the toe talked to me, and she was like, "What are you doing?" Like, she asked me if C-arms was my specialty, and I was like, "No, not really. This is kind of just a job that I'm doing for somebody." And she was kind of in awe, like, "Okay, you're a single mom, you're here in Memphis with the C-arm you just trained yourself on, like, you're pretty motivated." She got my business card from the doctor, and she said, "I'm going to call you." And I didn't put too much into that. I was like, well, maybe she'll call me, maybe she won't. And she did. She called me 3 weeks later and said, "I have these guys in Nashville you need to talk to. They're with a distributorship, and they have some products that they want to talk to you about representing in Chattanooga." And so I got with them, and a 30-minute interview turned into a 3-hour conversation. Great guys, and they gave me a chance, and so luckily through them I have some really great products. So it's all about meeting people, talking to people, being honest, humbling yourself, asking how, why, and that's how it all started. Very grateful that I went into Dr. Russell's office, because actually that's the first time that women have really lifted me up, that I could, in such a new and awesome way.
So how important is it for women to lift each other up, and what does that mean to you?
Oh, I think it's everything. When you can find supportive women who are lifting you up, it's really the difference between moving on with grace and with compassion. I think that's it's everything. It's very heartfelt when you find other women who are on your team lifting you up. I think it's very important, and what it means to me is it's the difference between being able to go on with however your business is doing with your head held high, that if it's not super successful, if it's not where you want to be, you have a great support system. If it is really successful, then guess what? You have a great support system, and nothing is conditional on anything but just, their grace and their kindness and support. And I think that it's everything to have something like that.
So on International Women's Day, what is the most important message you want to send out to young women thinking about their life?
The most important thing is to just always have confidence in yourself and be graceful to yourself. Be forgiving, because you're not going to do everything the right way every time. And we all have so many different facets, and I think that's the most beautiful thing about women, is that we have more going on daily, monthly, than anybody could really possibly imagine. And on so many different levels. And it's difficult to manage all of that all the time. And there are going to be days when you want to not do it, and you want to just not deal. I will encourage you to that's okay. Have your days where you need to be still, and you need to really reflect, and that's okay if you don't want to talk to anybody that day. But don't let yourself stay there. You have to, sometimes we have to build ourselves up, and just know that you have the power to do that. Feel empowered in the fact that you have all that strength. I think we have more strength than anybody, and God made us that way, and just embrace that. And when you need your people, tell them that you need them, and feel empowered to do whatever it is you feel your job is on this earth at that time. I really encourage that. I think it's very important.
So in your opinion, do you think it's important that more women become business owners or in a leadership role?
100%. I 100%. I have 3 daughters of my own. Every day I tell them, you know, you always have to, what's your passion? What do you love? Start to think about that. Start to think about people that you might want to shadow, to see and watch, because by the time they go to college, I want for them to have a great idea of who they are, what their passions are, and I know that that's still very young, and that's the beauty of life, is that you can always change your mind later, and you can always do something, but to always think outside of the box, always feel motivated, to always have the you know, that curiosity, that joie de vivre, that, like, you know, just kind of thinking outside of the box. I think all women need to take on leadership roles and always feel confident that they can have something to call their own, some autonomy. I think that's really important for women, not to fall under a role that they think they have to play, but more so something that they really want to be doing always, to keep it interesting. Diversity is something that I feel is very important. For me, it's always been something, because I'm not from, you know, the United States. I've been here for a very long time, but the fact is that we all just need to love each other and get along, no matter what. To learn from people, to understand different dynamics, to understand different sides, to different nationalities, to different religions. Like, if you're curious about the world and the way it operates, it's not just here in Chattanooga, Tennessee. I mean, there's a whole world, and it's a beautiful thing. The diversity, to be able to meet new people and to learn. It's kind of like going to an art museum, and, you know, if you like one certain kind of art, and I only like contemporary, but then I see different, like, you learn more, you kind of understand, like, you can blend things, and it's a beautiful thing. And to me, like, you know, I think that learning from other people is great. I love that. There's always going to be a stereotype, and for me, my favorite thing is when I look at somebody and the mold is completely broken, when I start talking to them and realize who they actually are. My favorite people are, like, tats all over, like, and you would never know that they're a plastic surgeon, or that they have, like, some kind of a great creative job. You know, you can't put a stereotype on the way anybody looks. Like, that's just, you know, I think that's kind of antiquated. I don't think things operate that way anymore. And part of owning a business and part of being successful is the ability to mesh and blend well with everybody. And you need to be inclusive and kind. That's the bottom line, always. Kindness, I think, gets everybody very far in life. You win more with honey than you do with vinegar.
Well, thank you for doing this. We
Absolutely.
I know that you're a busy woman. We do have followers that are in every occupation. So,
okay.
If there's doctor's offices looking, or how do they reach out to you? How do they find your company?
So I am still a very small company. It's still myself, but you can always reach out to me. My email address is ivyortho@gmail.com. It's spelled IVYORTHOLLC@gmail.com. And my phone number is 423-463-4559. You can always call or text. And if you're in the foot and ankle space or orthopedic space, I would love to hear from you. I have some great products. But, you know, I might, maybe I'll do like an Instagram page or something like that specific to it at some point. But yes.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Un monde, une voix, l'art d'être gentil.